Hello and welcome to Babbles Travelling Yarns. This is episode, I don't know, it's down there, I forgot. 80 something, maybe 70 something, 80 something, I don't know. I have been completely out of it because I've been doing Vlogmas. If you have been catching up with Vlogmas, well done, congratulations, that's a big deal. I did 24 days, I didn't do Christmas. Because it was family Christmas, so that's fine. And I really enjoyed it. I actually loved every moment. It gave me a lot of ideas on content that I want to do for everybody. It gave me ideas for tutorials. It's kind of like the more you do something, the more, you know, you don't run out of stuff to do. Do you know what I mean? Like a writer, the more you write, the more you want to write. So I got a lot to talk about today, about all the things that I've made over the month of December, and it's going to be a big one. Strap in. So I'm going to split it up into knitting, spinning and a little bit of weaving. And then at the end I'm going to talk about my acquisitions, and I'm going to announce the winner of the Epic Along. I'm going to do that first, which means I have to pull the winner because I haven't done that yet. I just realised I've got to do it by looking at this prize drawer down here. Oh. So I'm going to do that and I'll be back with you very soon. Okay, so I've just pulled all the prizes. Oh, it's so exciting. Okay, so I have put together 4 prizes, which are really pretty, really nice. So the first prize is a beautiful bag by Terry from my cottage number 9, and inside this bag is a beautiful naturally dyed little mini set from Flourish Fibres. So this is, if anyone's been watching the Vlogmas, this is the lady that's doing my advent calendar. And she's also given this beautiful thing to go with it. So it's a full set. Beautiful. And I'm going to give it to, we're going to start with the finished object thread because it was absolutely unbelievable. We had 90 people applying. I'm also going to give a little pin, one of my little pins, which are actually, I don't have many of these left, so I'm going to be hopefully creating a new design. Said that now. So who wins this thread? This thread is won by Simply by My Knee and Tea, Lizanne from the Netherlands. I will put your name down below and I'll put your name up on screen here. She knit the amazing Il Barato by Nathan Taylor. It's this whole, I think it's a massive double knit scarf. It's so long. Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. So you win this. Hooray! Well done, Lizanne. That's fabulous. Excellent. So I'm going to put your name on this and pop it down. I want anyone... So I'm only going to be speaking about the winners on this podcast. So if anyone... I'm not going to be messaging them privately because I think if you are taking part in the Epic Along and you have been watching this and you found out about it from this, then you should be watching the podcast to get the prize, if you know what I mean. Know what I'm saying? Right. Anyway, yeah, so contact me either on Ravelry by PM or by Instagram on DM or something like that. And give me your address and I'll send that out to you. Hooray! So that's the first one. The second one then is another beautiful bag. This is by Ellen, Galak Shek Ellen, on Etsy and Instagram, and so she has this beautiful wooden tag just here. Oh, there she is. That's a beautiful tag there, and a lovely strap there. It's it's properly epic sized, so definitely sweater size, definitely. And inside she's got 2 pockets there, 3 pockets, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 pockets for all of your essentials. I do think you need 3. And inside I've popped in some of my yarn. So I thought these went really nice together. They're DK weight, so that would make a really nice, actually the chimney cowl pattern and cowl and hat pattern by oh my gosh, words, by Barbara from Knitting I Love actually would look quite nice in this. She was able to get the two, at the hat and the cowl out of the two. So that may be an idea or something like that. So I thought they were really nice together, and they're my colours, so I had to put them together. And also you get a pin, a little Babbles Yarns pin, and you get some little stitch markers from Bear and Sheep's Clothing, which are absolutely gorgeous. I had them in my little stitch marker stash. So who gets this prize? This prize goes to this one. So it was post number 15. Why the L not? I love it. And this is Linda from Montreal in Canada. Fabulous. So she did the hacker sweater, which was for her husband, which is kind of what this the Epic Along Thread started out as, was actually trying to get me to finish a sweater for James. I'm almost there. Not really, but anyway. So she gets this beautiful bag. Congratulations, Linda. Contact me, send me a message, send me your details, and I'll send that out to you in the new year. Now we're onto the chatter thread. So the chatter thread, we got some beautiful prizes in from the Homespun Girls yarns. And they're still in their packaging. So, and they also sent a couple of little pins, which I'm going to get one in each. And you're also going to get one of my pins, and I will probably include another few little bits that I have around. I have so many little bits that are around. So this is the first one. It is beautifully hand-dyed yarn. It's the Bucks Harbour collection, and this is Maine Summer Sock, 80% 20% superwash merino nylon, and this is called Toodaloo, the colorway Toodaloo, which is a beautiful kind of mauvey pink with speckles, and it goes a bit lighter on that side. Absolutely stunning with this little brown flecks there, really nice. So this is 462 yards per 100 grams fingering weight, so it's quite a lot of yardage in this one. I haven't taken out of its package, so it's still pristine. So thank you so much to the Homespun Girls, because it's just wonderful to have something like this. It's really great. So yeah, Homespun Girl yarns. This one is going to go to Garn Flicka, which is Anna from Canada. Is it going back to Canada? Oh, this is Maine. Oh, going back over the pond. And she started the Tea Leaves cardigan. Now this is in the chatter thread. I don't know if she hasn't updated her project page, so I don't know if she's finished it yet, but I hope she does. And I hope this might encourage you a little bit to get back to it if you're having trouble with it. It's a beautiful pattern. I really like it. I've put all the links to the project pages of people, of the garments that they're working on, or the things that they're working on, down below in the chatter thread. So that's Anna from Canada, Garn Flicka. Congratulations! So that is that. I must write this down somewhere. And then the other piece, which is quite special, this is also Homespun Girls yarns, but this is it's hand dyed on the coast of Maine. Left coast of Maine. I was like, I don't think that goes for geography. This is actually from their farm. This is Wild and Wind Farm Lamb, strong wool for strong people. It's 230 yards for 3.5 ounces, DK weight, 100% virgin wool, grown and made and dyed in Maine. This is North Country Cheviot, and it is unbelievable. Look at this beautiful green, absolutely gorgeous. So who won this one? This is T.N. Kenyon, Tracy from Australia. Oh, I think she's from New South Wales. And she knit the gorgeous Oatmeal cardigan by Libby Johnson. It's beautiful. And she did finish it because I had a look. So congratulations, Tracy. You're one of the winners of this beautiful yarn. And I will also be giving you a little pin and a few little extras that I might find around. I just got a beautiful package, a Christmas present from the lovely Marianne Prince, who is a beautiful illustrator and designer here in Ireland, in Munster, and she sent me some of these absolutely gorgeous little DPN cozies, but I don't really use DPNs very much, so I might be including some of these little pretties into the parcels. Look at this little Volkswagen. So cute. I think she might have made them. Oh, look. Look at this one. Look at the kitties. She's also made these beautiful stitch markers. She sent me some absolutely gorgeous stitch marker sets, like to make them. Thank you so much, Marion. You were so kind. I love them. I love it. Look at this little one. So that'll probably, one of those will be included maybe with the presents, because they're so beautiful, and I'd hate for them to go to someone that doesn't really use DPNs that much. You know, I might get into them. I'll keep one and then I'll give others. So congratulations everyone, well done on winning the prizes, well done on finishing your amazing projects. It was incredible to host it. I am not very good at hosting knit-alongs, so I'm going to hold off for now unless I get a brainstorm of an idea. But yeah, I'm really glad that you took part. It was really exciting. There was 90 finished objects in total, and there was like 260 comments, and everyone was really supportive and lovely on that thread. I think there was a little bit of a confusion about the finishing date, but I had been mentioning it at every podcast for the last 6 months, every second podcast for the last 6 months. But anyway, what can you do? I'm not very good at this. Ha ha ha! So, on to the knitting, shall we? So, I'll pop these away. Alright. Speaking of epic along, shall we talk about this piece that I half finished? I say half finished because it's actually needs sleeves, but it's a wearable vest. And he wore it on Christmas Day. And it made me realise it's actually a little bit too long. I could have probably come up to there and it would have suited him a little bit better. I'm thinking with the sleeves it might look less silly. This is my own opinion. He loves it. He doesn't care. He wore it the whole Christmas Day in my granny's old house, which is like really like loads of people around, fires everywhere. He was like, I am burning up. I was like, good. If anyone is just joining me after Vlogmas, if you just joined me in Vlogmas, hello and thank you very much for joining. I love you. So this is a jumper that I started back last year, this year, 2018. And I had originally started another jumper, which is down there, and I'm not looking at it because I don't like it. It's a massive Fair Isle jumper, and I was not going to knit a whole thing of Fair Isle for my 6'8" boyfriend. So this is an Aran sweater pattern that I'm knitting out of Aran wool, which is from, I'll see if I have another ball there. It's not the same ball now, but this is the make. It's Donegal Aran wool from the Aran Sweater Market down in County Kerry. It's just called Aran wool. It's very reasonable, £12.95. It's milled up in Donegal. James bought me 2 of these and I don't know what to do with them, but it might be a vest for myself because this vest only took 3 of these. These are huge, massive 200-gram balls of yarn, very reasonable, £12.95, non-superwash. And yeah, so I think the thing I'm most proud of is this neckline and the sleeves. So I thought originally that the sleeves were going to be too like big on him. They are the perfect size on him. I did have to rip out the sleeves and the I-cord twice on the neck, on both arms. So I actually knit that I-cord along the back especially. I had to knit everything twice, but that's fine because that's what you do when you're designing something. I don't know if I'm ever going to write this up, lads. I'll give you the chart and you can put it into something like Kniterator or something. That might be an idea. But like, I just can't think about that right now. I was watching, well, I can't get iPlayer here in Ireland. That's where I am, by the way. But with Cherries on Top too, which was someone that I made a pact with back in September. I didn't follow through. But she ended up on TV, Dad's designing a beautiful Christmas sweater. So she wins. Congratulations. She was on Kirsty's Handmade Christmas, I think. It was like a really big competition. And there was loads of really cool people. There was like Jamie Kennedy and who else? I can't remember. Oh, Primrose Yarn Company was there as well. It was very, very, very cool. It was really nice to see. Yeah, so she wins. So this I-cord, because when I was knitting up the back and the side, when I was knitting up the front and the back, I was slipping every stitch to start. And at first I was thinking, oh, this is probably going to be a bad idea. I'm probably going to have to pick up 2 stitches for each slip stitch, because every row, when you slip a stitch on the edge, so every time I knit across, then I'd turn the work and I'd start knitting, I would slip that last stitch, that first stitch that you come to. So you knit across here, and then you'd knit the whole thing all the way, you'd knit that last stitch, turn around, and you'd slip that first stitch. So you would end up having on the edge half the stitches of your rows. And I was thinking, oh, that would make a really too short sleeve. So I was probably picking up 3 stitches for every 2 stitches. That turned out to be ridiculous, and I was totally right with slipping the stitch, and I ripped everything back, and I picked up 1 stitch for every stitch, and I did an I-cord bind off, and it worked out beautifully. So I know that now, that I don't need to freak out a little bit about, because it was like flaring, it was like almost like puckering. I was like, oh, this is not good. It needed to be a little bit tighter. It needed to pull in a little bit. Now it lays really nicely along his back. There's no gaping. There was a bit of gaping at the back of it when I did that. So, let me start a little bit from the beginning. Not from the beginning, but the start of doing the shoulders. So if you see here, I knit up the back, I knit up the front, and then I did a 3 needle bind off across the back there to give it nice structure. I gave it a 3 needle bind off. I carried the yarn, like I went from this side across, and then I did an I-cord bind off all the way across there, and then I attached the 2 together. Now you may see that there's a little bit of a dip in here. Can you see that? There's a little bit of a dip here. This back piece had actually more stitches on it than the front piece. I tried to line up the cables a little bit. I managed on this side. I didn't quite manage on that side, but that's fine. I did have more stitches on the back, and I wanted that. It happened by accident, but then I figured out actually I do want that because he's kind of rounded shoulders, so he needs a little bit more coverage on the back there. But what I probably should have done is started decreasing a little bit here, because when I first did this, it was a very big, like L shape, like a big kind of a block there sticking out. It didn't look very nice. So I ripped it out. This one was quite nice, but this one had a few more stitches on this side just because I'm an idiot. I didn't have equal stitches on either side of the cable. But I think it's fine. It works fine. All day Christmas I was just looking at him going, and he kept seeing me and he was like, stop looking at me, stop it. I'm like, I know I can make it better, but you know, that's called creation. Yeah. So yeah, I did a 3 needle bind off across the top of the shoulders and then an I-cord across the back of the neck. This I-cord is actually just a cable that's traveling across, along the front. It's actually this cable that is just traveling across. I'm just cabling it and then casting off the stitches on the inside. Very simple, very nice effect, and it looks quite nice on him. I did reinforce this part a little bit with the extra bit that was left over. I don't know from where. There was just an extra bit. Oh yeah, it was when I stopped knitting on this side and moved over it and knit over here and back, and then I came back and it was the tail of starting up here on this side again, so that was handy. So yeah, so this worked out really well. Now for the sleeves, I'm definitely going to add sleeves on this at some point. I am going to pick up stitches along this way in the same way that I learned from Isabel Kramer's class in Barcelona. Ugh. So I have a handout here and I'll go through it and think about it a little bit more, a little better. So I'm just trying to see if I can find a picture. Yeah. So it's going to work out like this. I'm going to pick up stitches along the top and do short rows all the way over and back until under the arm there. And yeah, hopefully I'm going to make a nice little cable down the center. I was going to do a saddle shoulder, and then I realized I just want to actually get this wearable for Christmas and figure out the rest later. And this was the easiest way that I could think of doing it. Seeing as this is the first time I'm knitting a bottom up sweater and then hoping to do top down sleeves, I think I'm allowed to go the easy route. But I don't think it was the easy route. I think it was pretty big thing. I'm thinking over time, if this bottom part annoys me, I'll actually just chop it off and just knit a rib. James does not care, I don't think. So he's just happy to have something, or happy to be going on about how he has something. But it's really sweet. I love it. It has it is based on his family crest called the Doherty. He's a Doherty of the Doherty clan, and the Doherty clan has a stag, one single stag with two, I think it's stakes or something. I'll link to a video where I talk a bit more about the design of the cable work, just down below if you're interested in that. So that is my semi-finished object. My other finished object I'm wearing around my neck. This is a beautiful cowl. I finished it during Vlogmas. It is, and I cast it on, I bought the yarn, I bought the pattern in Barcelona. And it's a beautiful, beautiful skein of yarn by Connie of Chili Knits, and it is called the Holiday Colorway. Connie is based in Chile, in Santiago, in South America, and it was the first time I saw her. I've met her a couple of times on the International VKN or IVKN, and it's a kind of an international knit night which runs on Tuesdays and Saturdays and Sundays. So I met her first there, chatting there, and we just became friends, and then I actually met her for real in Barcelona, which was really nice. So this was the first thing I wanted to cast on. I was going to do socks, but I didn't have a ball winder. I knit socks 2 at a time, so I decided I would do a shawl instead. And I had just taken a class from Hohi Locatelli, so I decided I'm going to knit something from Hohi. So this is a beautiful shawl. It's called the Paris in Berlin cowl. And how did I pull that stitch already? Let me pull that back. There we go, that looks better. It's called the Paris in Berlin cowl, and it is a circular construction, if you see, but you start off like a simple triangular shawl. So you start off knitting in the flat, and then you connect it, and then you end up doing this beautiful pattern. There is another pattern up here which I didn't do because I thought the yarn was a little bit too busy for it. It was like a pearl bump pattern, but it would look really nice for a semi-solid or a tonal. And this pattern down here was just addictive to do. It's very simple. Honestly, guys, you should try it. It's very simple, but it is beautiful. It's basically slipping stitches and carrying the float on the front of the work, and then 2 or whatever more rounds down, you pick up that stitch. You basically just go down and knit it into the next thing, and it makes this beautiful quilted texture. It kept me going because I loved seeing it grow. I loved it. Like every second row you'd be seeing something happen, which was really nice, and then like every second row you just have a knit round, so it was really simple. It is so cozy, so warm. I want to make 5,000 of these. I want to make it one in like a deep blue as well, like the picture that she has, because it's like a shawl. You can pop it on underneath your coat. It'll never fall off. Never. It's so good. I love it. And it was so quick to make. One skein project, and it's not like a little shawlette which it'll fall off or it won't be big enough and cozy enough. This is actually super cozy and really nice. And I think the yarn goes a little bit faster because of this slip stitch, because, you know, the yarn goes a tiny bit faster. It's kind of like with lace, when you do yarn overs, you're not using as much yarn on that row. So that row, I don't know if that's just psychological or what, but it feels like it goes a little bit faster. So I love it. Thank you so much, Hohi and Connie. You're geniuses. And I think this just like, I like that the brighter pops are up by my neck, so you can see them a little bit more if there's like a jumper. And this is just kind of like warm décolleté cover, you know, for when I'm fancy in French. Now, next. Oh, I have another finished object. Oh, so many finished objects. Really, Vlogmas got me finishing things and knitting, and I did have time off as well. I did go on holidays to London, and I did see loads of people and stuff like that, and there was a lot of traveling, which was really nice because I get to knit when I travel, which is why this is called Babbles Traveling Yarns. I love traveling. I love it because I get to knit. So I cast on this hat. This was kind of a little bit of a, oh my gosh. So when I was in Barcelona, I bought this beautiful wool from Lani Vendolé, and I've done like a separate video about it, but I'm just going to talk a little bit about why I cast this on, because I really should not have, but just like didn't really need to at all, but I did anyway. So it's Lani Vendolé, and I bought it from from themselves at the Barcelona Knits Festival, and the cashmere that's in this yarn is from Mohair Goat Farm, and she was actually there as well. So of course I was suckered. So selected traceable and natural fibres, bread spun and hand dyed in Italy. And then I got home and I was like, what am I going to do with this really beautiful yarn? It was quite expensive because it's 50% cashmere, 20% Tussis silk and 30% alpaca, like the most luxurious blend I've probably ever bought. And I was like, oh my god, I only bought 50 grams. What can I do? A hat, maybe? Gloves? I was thinking maybe mittens, but would it get like sticky and sweaty? Oh, I don't know. And then literally the next day, Kristen from Vullenvine released this gorgeous pattern called the Sparkling Cider Hat, and it was held together with mohair. Now, I have to admit, lads and ladies, I don't like mohair. I feel like that's almost like a sin at the moment because everyone's obsessed with it. It's everywhere. It's like the 80s have come back to haunt us and murder us in our sleep. I don't know. There's something about mohair that just, it's like, when I touch it, I'm like, oh no. I have to admit it. I have bought some, and I wanted to knit with it because there's some beautiful projects out there, but I don't know. It's like, you know, fingernails down the blackboard. Sometimes you just can't, like, some people really don't like the feel of cotton, or some people really don't like the feel of unspun fibre or wool. They're just like, I just don't like it. And unfortunately, mohair is that for me. So I don't think you'll find me knitting mohair. Now, I might eat my words if, like, you know, the fad gets to me, but I don't think it will. However, this fluffy cashmere blend totally has this halo that the Sparkling Cider Hat really likes. So if you can see, it's got this stunning halo. So the Sparkling Cider Hat is a beaded project with some cables, and if you look, they look like little trees. And I made a beautiful pom-pom from the top. But now, so I think that the reason maybe I don't like mohair is that it like fuzzes up and you can't see all of your nice work. You know, I think I'm more of like a texture, stitch definition texture type person. Like that's what I love, cables, and I would love to be good at lace, but I'm not because I'm terrible at following a pattern. But lace, like cables, seems to be a little bit easier to follow because you can see really obviously instantly that you're going wrong. Whereas with lace, you don't really know until you get to the end and you've missed your stitches, or anyway, whatever. I'd love to be good at lace. I love the look of lace. It's incredible. But with mohair and stuff, it kind of fuzzes up and obscures your work if you're doing anything. So, and then with plain knitting, then I don't know. I love seeing the stitches. I love seeing the work. I love seeing all the hard work that went into something. So maybe that's part of the reason that mohair is not super attractive to me. Yeah, so, but this hat really actually kind of totally not changed my mind, just made me see how nice it is, how nice this kind of this particular pattern is with a kind of a fluffy yarn. So I think it's because of the beads. It's definitely because of the beads, because you've got this super soft, like super kind of ethereal, you know, misty morning kind of feel about it. And then you've got these bright sparks of like hard cold texture, like this. It feels really nice. Like you can feel this soft, 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 and then ooh, that's nice. I'm a texture person, I think. And I do like it. I think the beads really pull out the work that you've done. Oh, I missed a bead there. I'm gonna have to put it in later. Funny. Maybe I'll leave it. Nothing in this world is perfect. But you know what it reminds me of? This pattern reminds me of, you know, those really frosty, misty mornings with the sun just starting to burn off the cloud. I think it's reminding me of that. Is my lipstick gone crazy? It totally has. Oh my god. Madness. It's gone all the way up. Well, I'll just sit back here. It's that oil. I think that oil just like made it spread. So yeah, it just reminds me of those like really frosty mornings, getting up to go to school, and you know, seeing the cobwebs caught, like the frosty, dewy cobwebs caught in the sunlight, in the mist, and then just these bright sparks of the droplets of water kind of just starting to come through. So it's super soft, super warm, and I love running my hands over it and feeling the beads. And you can see how I made the pom-pom on my special little video. So I just like, yeah. So I am a fan of this hat. I think a little bit of hair under it would be nice. Oh my gosh, don't I look like Wool Needle's hands? I just need to be more successful and have children. No. Ooh, put that away. Yeah, so this is the Sparkling Cider Hat. I knitted exactly as to pattern. I didn't do a gauge swatch, and I was thinking that it would end up a little bit smaller because I didn't have the extra strand of mohair, which is essentially adding, you know, your fingering weight, adding a strand of lace with it. So it would have been a little bit bigger gauge, but it worked out totally fine. This is a fingering weight. I do need to secure this bobble a little bit better because I feel like it's bobbling around a lot, which I'm not sure I like. But yeah, this is super warm. I've got a plait here now, so if I turn that in there, I can cuddle myself up. I'm the warmest. Actually, we're having a very mild winter, so you never know, the snow might come. It came last year. So they are all the projects that I've finished. I am knitting a couple of different things. I'm not going to talk about stuff I haven't made any progress on, because this podcast will be going on forever. I'm already 30 minutes in. Ridiculous. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, oh yes, my spinning. And it overlaps with knitting. So I finished my sweater spin for a sweater, and it was out of Hello Yarn Club in the Ships, Whales and Icebergs colorway from like March 2014. I hunted the internet for 3 bumps of this beautiful, beautiful fab yarn because I just desperately needed it in my life. And I did get it. I got some from Norway and I got some from America, and it was amazing. So I got 3 of this. It came out to a fingering sport weight, which gives me probably about 900 meters to play with, which is hopefully enough. So I decided to knit a top-down sweater. Top-down because I can, you know, keep going as long as I have the yarn. And I wanted to see, there was a pattern that, whenever I put in let me start a little bit better. I knit a gauge swatch because I didn't know what gauge this is going to knit up at. So the only thing you can do really is knit a gauge swatch. So I knit a little flat gauge swatch, so cute. And then I measured out, I decided which gauge I liked the best, and I chose the middle one because it's got a little bit of drape, it's got a little bit of a fold, but it's not so loose and drapey. So I decided to, this is for me on this particular yarn that I spun, which is completely only relevant to me. And the needle size I knitted on was 3.75, which is again completely relevant to me and nobody else. Because gauge, my fingers are not your fingers. Knit your gauge swatches. This lovely little stitch marker is made by Vivian. It's beautiful. I have it in my project. I actually have a couple of projects that I keep the stitch markers and progress keepers I want to use on the swatch, which is, I don't know why, I just like them because then I can show them off. So cute. I think this as a little pocket would be adorable. Anyway, I say that every time I knit a swatch, but I never put them on. So I put them in, I put that into Ravelry. I literally searched by gauge, came up to 23 or 22 stitches per 4 inches or 10 centimeters, and you can actually search that on Ravelry. So what came up again and again and again was the beautiful Yume sweater by Isabel Kramer. So no, it's not a one sleeve sweater. There's your options, your short sleeve or your long sleeve. I showed this to my cousin. He was like, why would you want a one sleeve sweater? I was like, stop being so literal. Okay, it's a pattern. I can do whatever I want. This is a black and white picture, but you can see there's a little bit of lace on the collar up there, which is beautiful. And that's, it actually includes all of the, well, almost all of the yoke increases, which is so smart, Isabel. You're so smart. Yeah, so let me show you how I'm getting on. So I have been playing a little bit. I was going to, because it was spun as a fractal ply, which means that you get your braid like this, and then you split it down the middle. So you have brown, you have two of these, just half the width. And then you spin one of those halves, just 100% one of those. So you get really long repeats of color. You get really long brown, really long yellow, really long white, really long blue, all the way down through your skein of yarn. Then the other half, you actually split down into teeny tiny little pencil rovings, so you get really quick, when you spin it, you have less fiber in there, so you get really quick color transition. So it goes brown, yellow, white, blue, brown, yellow, white, blue, brown, yellow, white, blue, brown, you get maybe, I generally get it down to about 10 strips. So then when you spin, and then you spin, so you fill one bobbin with the one half, which is the really long color repeats, and then you get your other bobbin full of really quick color repeats through that whole bobbin. And then you apply them together using the same, so you'd both start with the brown end, and you'd start like that. And then you would spin them all together. So what you'd end up with is really quick color transitions connected, plied with the long color transitions. So if I was to say spin it once and then get 10 color transitions, you would get 2 color transitions per color. So if it was like 5 colors in this, if you know what I mean. Anyway, it ends up that the colors are more defined, it's less muddy, because colors you get a really nice barber pole effect, and you also get some solid patches of color too as well. So that's what I was planning to do with this, but I spun these all quite at different times. I think I started last year, maybe so I didn't spin them all at the same time, and so there's one skein in here which I wanted to start at the blue section. So everything started at the blue. Actually, I think I have a sample still of what. There you go. This is your color. This is my color transition that I had. I kept one just as a display. So I wanted to start the sweater. This should have worked. I didn't, but this should have worked. I'll take this off so it's not distracting. So I wanted to start with the yoke as a blue, and then it was going to start striping mad like that little swatch. you know, so but I wanted to start all 3 skeins together on my using the technique of the jogless join, which I'll link below if you're interested. It's a way to avoid a jog halfway through your or a seam if you're alternating skeins on a sweater using hand-dyed yarns. So I started doing that, but one of the skeins was not playing ball, so I do end up having some brown stripes, and I wanted that a solid colour because there's lace up there. So I've decided to just deal with it. Because actually I'm actually really liking how it's turning out. That was my plan and it didn't go to plan, but that's okay. So I have actually, because I was knitting with 3 balls and I've cut that down to 2 balls now because I'm like, well, it's not working anyway, so whatever. It's a little bit more awkward with 3 balls rather than 2. And I don't have this on a nice needle length that I can show you, but I think I have just finished all of the lace. So this is going to be really awkward to show you guys. I'm sorry about this. Oh my god, it looks amazing! Oh my god, it actually looks amazing. Do you know, sometimes I can't tell how things are going to show until I show it on screen. So can you see the brown that's coming through? Like that was from one ball that just was not in the right place. But like, I think my plan only worked to about there and then it started switching up. So, but that's grand. I don't really mind. So I'm going to knit the body down to my own. This is a very bouncy yarn. I have already washed this and blocked it and it bounced right back to the size. So I know that this is not going to drop. This is not going to drop like a lot of other garments. So I'm going to have to knit it to a length that's going to work for me. And then whatever yarn is left over, that's going to be the sleeve length. If it's going to be a short sleeve, perfect. If it's going to be a mid-length sleeve, perfect. I don't mind. As long as I get a body out of it that I like, because I don't want a short body. I wanted something to cover my kidneys just a little bit, just to go down past my belt. That's all I need. But I love this so much. So isn't it so interesting that this is what it started out as and this is as it's knitting up? It's amazing! I'm gonna have to make my little, I love these little braids. I got the idea from Spinny Buns, Alana Wilcox, who has an incredible book, and she's actually working on some really interesting dyeing experiments, which is so fab. There's James again. He's trying to sell all of his things to buy a new computer. That was my idea. I have so much to sell as well. I do not need to be giving anyone advice. But anyway. So here's my screenshot anyway. So isn't that incredible that the that this braid turns into this? Isn't that unbelievable? It's amazing. And I got this lovely little stitch marker from Gamer Crafting. So cute. I love it. I want to get it on a bigger needle so I can try it on and put it over my head and see how we're doing. I've got a couple more increase rows to go and then down over the shoulders. This this collar is quite wide, but I think it's actually, I thought it was too wide, but actually I think it's gonna be perfect. And there's some short rows in the pattern up at the top and below the yoke. Below, after you finish all your increases, there's some more short rows at the back underneath, so that it so if you can see here, there's a small little bit of blue up over here, and then there's a bigger section of blue here. That's because there's about 6 short rows there. It goes, you're just knitting back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and bringing the back up a little bit. So you're bringing what you want to do with short rows, especially on a jumper or something, because this one is not so much. So the back is quite low, so you're just a little bit cold in your neck. So what I want to do, and the pattern tells you to do, is actually tilt the yoke a little bit. Just give a little bit extra fabric on the back section of the yoke. It's very well explained. Oh, hi.
Grace, you're on a podcast.
Oh, hi, James. Fancy you interrupting my podcast with my cat.
I'm just going to start hoovering, blending, mixing. I'm going to have to turn the TV up really loud because obviously I'll be hoovering so I'll be able to hear the TV. And then I'm going to play some music in my headphones as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just put it for the speakers.
Yeah.
Is that right? And Beans' bell is...
Yeah, Beans has got a new bell for Christmas, so he scares the birds and doesn't eat them. Mm-hmm. But he's incredibly annoying. As is James! See, he's not here. Normally he rings me during the podcast. I think you'll just ring me anyway, probably.
Probably.
And then I'll have to do extra editing. You're the worst. I'm just talking about how great I am for finishing your jumper.
So great.
So great.
So great.
The greatest. Aren't I?
The bestest.
I just gave him heat stroke during Christmas at Granny's with like 6 fires on. Was it okay?
Yeah. It was, when we were walking.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Arms were a little chilly.
I'll get there.
But it is by far the greatest gift I ever had in my life.
That's the first time you said it to me.
I thought everyone else would hear it.
Oh, he's such a show off. Liar.
Anyway, I'm back now.
Look at Mr. Beans. He's so cute. Look at his fluffy tail. Give him to me, quick. Just give him, really quick. No, don't run away from me. Don't run away from me. Oh, look at him. Look at him. Look at this little...
Beans break in the middle of the podcast.
Yes, well, it's a Beans interlude. It's traditional. His tail is going mad. Because he does not like this. I don't care. You've got to get used to Huggles. Actually, I think he's pretty used to Huggles. Oh, look at those green eyes. He's so pretty. Look, he's so pretty. He's literally beating my arms with his tail. Let me out of here. Okay, go away.
Alright, bye.
Bye. Love you, bye. He's so cute. Beans, not James. He's pretty cute too. Okay, so where was I talking about? Yeah, so I'm really enjoying this pattern. I can't stop knitting with it. I am learning that I kind of tend to over twist probably. I haven't got around, like there's a lot of sections here which have a little bit of an over, like they're a little bit see-through as opposed to farther down, you know? Anyway, whatever. Be like, that's the lace, Grace, get over it. I'm like, me. Yeah, but I am really happy with how this is turning out. I cannot wait to wear. Actually, now that I've seen it on, like against me, I'm like, oh yeah, baby. So I'm hoping to have this for Edinburgh. I also have another project. Am I knitting anything else? No. Let's talk about my little dream knitting project super quickly. Now, this is going to be an idea that has actually been in my head since last year. I dyed up these DK weight, oh gosh, something's in my eye. These DK weight sock blanks that my friend Michelle knit up for me. They're Shetland wool from Shetland, and I made them into gradients. Now my idea for these is actually to make a sweater with a colourwork yoke with a gradient DK weight Shetland wool. This is Iona wool. I think this is DK. Oh gosh, I hope so. I don't know what this is, but I'll do a gauge swatch and see if it matches. But I'm thinking of doing something with these colours. Now, the only thing is that a colourwork yoke that has to be like just one colour. I suppose it doesn't have to be one colour. I can get like another yarn, but I would love for it just to be this, do all the colour transitioning for you and then whatever other colour you want. So I've got a load of these and I don't know which one to do. If I was going to go with the grey, I made a grello one as well, but I don't know if I love the idea of grello, but I don't think it matches me. So this is the grello fade and it would fade into this, which would be actually really nice, but that might be suited for somebody else. So yeah, these my shop is not open at the moment because I've got a lot going on and I'm trying to work on that instead, just other stuff. But the shop will be opening in the new year at some point. I am working up to a couple of shows in the summer. I want to have enough stock so I won't be freaking out if I do get into the shows. So yeah, here's hoping on that. I can't get it in, but they're packaged like this. I really like this one. I really love the caramel, but I think I might need like a dark brown, like natural color DK weight instead of like a grey, you know what I mean? Like warm, and I don't think that works. What else could work? That would be cute. I like that, but I'm not sure about the pink. Oh, let me see about this one. This green might be nice. Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it? It's kind of cute. So I need to find a pattern. I've been following Knit Love Wool, who is Jennifer Steingass, and she has a number of beautiful patterns like Arboreal, and there's the Fern and Feather, which are really nice. I was half thinking of designing a sweater. I had a little design which I saw. I looked up, I always do this, I actually look up the hashtag for colorwork yokes just to see what's out there, you know, see what's, you know, if there's anything interesting out there. And I saw a sketch of mine, but I don't know where it's gone. Yes. So I had this little idea, which just kind of has like swirls. I'm not sure. Yeah, and I was kind of coming up with something over here. So that might be interesting, might be an idea. Where most of the white space would be the colour and the dark space be the yarn. Yeah, I do have quite a lot of lovely DK weight in this colour, which might be nice to go with this, or, you know, this colour. No. You know, so there's a couple of ideas there. Yes, so this is actually the colour that I made my first colourwork sweater out of. So this might go quite well with that. That would be quite cool. I wonder would that work with. Yeah, so I've got a couple of ideas, and I was thinking about doing it, trying to knit it up for as a sample for a show in the summer, or just, you know, to show what these could be. You know, that's my general idea to do. And I do have this lovely cone, which would be really nice to do actually. I'm thinking the only one that I would be able to do it with would be this Grello though. Oh, wait a minute. It feels like it needs a cool base, something like this maybe. I'm not sure. I would just have to start and see where I get, really, I think. I do have a number of other DK sweater sets though, so I don't really have to be restricted. Yes. So that's my plan for maybe another sweater to cast on for myself, because I feel like I've done nothing but knit James's jumper forever. Oh, poor me. I do need to pick up his sleeves as well and get cracking on those. I think that would be really nice to do as well and get that organised. But for the minute I'm just going to be knitting for myself because it's Christmas and I've done loads of things. I've also been absolutely obsessed with spinning. I have done so much spinning this December. I've loved sitting down, getting cozy, watching a film and just spinning away, spin. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I have been spinning. I spun up some glorious yarn from John Arbon Textiles. Now I spun up the rest of Woad, which is a Harvest Hues colorway. This was 50 grams left over from my woven cardigan, and I had 200 grams of a silk bamboo blend called Siren, and that I bought at Yarn Folk, and I spun that up too. And this is just a 2-ply, very simple, nothing really complicated about this. So this is a beautiful 2-ply called Siren, and it's about 175 grams in that. And I decided that I could probably get a sweater. This is probably a sweater quantity. There was 50 grams of the blue and then 200 grams of this, and I'm like, I could probably get like a top or something, you know. So I decided to blend together some of the Woad and Siren into a marled little 50 grams, 75 grams, and I really like that. So the plan is top, yoke, body, right? I think that would be really sweet. And maybe in the body a little bit of lace or something, like at the bottom, just like extending it somehow. I'm not sure. So that's my plan, I think. I think it's really cute. I'm just going to do like a top down something or other. Any ideas? I love this. I love this so much. I think 2019 I'm going to be working on knitting up a lot of my spun yarn, because I have a lot and I love them, and I should be knitting more with it. I also should be knitting all of my stash, but whatever, who doesn't have to do that? But I just love this idea that I made it from scratch, well, almost scratch, you know, that sort of thing. So more sweater quantities, more knitted items out of my sweater quantities, which I have already spun. Oh, I love it. I love it. And I think the way that I've spun it is more kind of conducive to spinning it, or to knitting it, rather than weaving with it, because I do kind of want this thing, you know, where it comes from the neck down. I think that would be really nice. And you kind of have to do it like that if you're going to do anything like that. I have another idea that I have been working on with some beautiful bats that my friend Helen from Pretty Funky Fibre, she has made up some bats for me. So this is a beautiful one. I sent her some pictures from Pinterest, and she made up these beautiful bats. And she made them up in no time. She was actually really sick, and she had them done in like seconds, so it seemed. So if you're ever interested in doing something like that with her, I really would recommend her. She's fab. So I've got this beautiful blue, purple and green, white. I've got this really lovely minty bluey green one. I've got this lovely kind of shades of grey, deep blue and white in this one. And then on this one you've got your deeper green, your deeper blacks and your deep blues, and a little bit of green in this one as well. So I've already spun up one of these bats. They're 50 grams each-ish, give or take. And I've spun up one of these, which has turned into this gorgeousness. Did I 3-ply it or 2-ply it? I can't remember what I did. I think I might have, hang on, let me just find out. It's a 3-ply. Yes, I 3-plied it. So this is a lovely round 3-ply yarn. And my idea is to do the shift cowl, or the shift, what's it called? Shawl by Andrea Mowry. She uses spin cycle yarns, and I'm thinking all of these have like really interesting color plays, and I think that they would really like that cowl with its slip stitch pattern is really great for hand spun. It really is. So you only need 3 50-gram skeins, I think, for the cowl, and I've got 5, so I was thinking about making like the shawl or maybe an extra big cowl, just keep going. Yeah, so it might be an idea, or maybe just using the pattern and making like a long one that I can wrap around twice. I don't know, we'll see, but I need to do a little gauge swatch and see what this is coming out at, and then just keep spinning those. They're so quick to spin, they're so airy and fluffy and really nicely prepared bats. I've done a little tutorial on how to prepare a bat, so I'm going to, I think it was in my Vlogmas. There's a huge amount of technique actually in Vlogmas if you're interested. It's not just Christmassy stuff. I'm not a super Christmassy person. So if you're interested in spinning, in weaving and in knitting, I do a lot of talking about that. At the start I do a little tutorial on beading with that Sparkling Cider Hat, which has actually gone a little bit viral, which is lovely. I need to make up a little video for that. So if you're interested in techniques on lots of different things, maybe have a look at the Vlogmas. It's a lot to go through, I know, but I'm just saying there's a lot in there, and it's not just Christmas opening presents and stuff. Look at that white popping through. I really like that. So that is one of the ideas. The next spin I actually really want to do is finishing off these Rolegs that I bought. So this was Bananarama. I had to put it onto a toilet roll because I needed to get it off my bobbins. So this is, I spun a single out of some Rolegs from Pretty Funky Fibre. And I have this other set which I think would go really well as like a ply. So I'm going to spin these up. This is Pretty Funky Fibre as well. This is Innisfree. It's merino, alpaca and cashmere, sari silk and nylon, approximately 50 grams. So you've got so much in there, so much going on. I really want to ply these together because I bought them together, and they have a lot. They have that yellow and a little bit of blue in common. So I think them plied together would be beautiful, would make a beautiful yarn. And it's spun so thin on this one, I think. Would be really nice. So that would be a really quick spin actually, so I might do that today. Yeah, so I also got a advent calendar from Flora Fibres, and it was all plant-based fibres naturally dyed, which sounds like something I'd never, you know, I've wanted to get a sampler set of her fibres for a long time, and this advent calendar really actually seemed like the perfect opportunity to do it, because you'd get 24, you get 12 different bases and then 24 different colours. So there's 2 of every base. So, and then Christine Unabridged announced a spin along for 2019, which was basically that you would spin minis of fibre that you know, if you wanted to, so that you would have then a hand spun advent calendar for 2019, December 2019, which I thought was a lovely idea. And then I'll actually be able to knit it during next year's Vlogmas. So it would like keep the gift that keeps on giving, the gift to myself that keeps on giving. So, so yeah, I loved opening the calendar. But on day 12 and on day 24, there was something extra special. There were some Rolegs, which were a mix of loads of different colours, which I spun up into this beautiful single, which isn't exactly dry yet. Now, I'm just after, it's not quite dry yet, and I think, I'm not sure if I've ruined the colours with a wool wash, but I just put a little bit in. But it should have been neutral, pH neutral. But I think they're still beautiful. They've got a little bit of pink in there. So they were really beautiful, beautiful colours. I'll put them up on a picture here. But it's absolutely gorgeous. So these were like, it spins up into a variegated skein, really, when you do different colours on a Roleg. And I've left it as a single because it's perfectly, well, it's not perfectly balanced, but it's actually lovely. Really nice as a singles. So I might try to spin everything up as a singles to kind of work that out a little bit better. I was over twisting there a little bit, but I think it works out really nice. So that is my plant-based Rolex. I think it's got mint fibre, rose fibre, sea cell, and a couple of other different colours, and they're all naturally dyed with plants. So pretty. So I'll just leave that there. So that was the first thing I spun up out of my calendar, and it just looks like spun silk. It's absolutely beautiful. So then yesterday I decided I was going to spin up a beautiful bat that came on the 24th. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous thing. I'll put up a picture here. And I've left it sit overnight, and I spun it into singles as a rainbow. So what I could do now is I could 3-ply it if I wanted, but if I want to knit it all into the same thing, I think I'm just going to spin everything as a single and then knit or weave something quite pretty with it. So this is a rainbow. It starts pink about here and then comes up pink and then green and yellow and really, really nice. There's blue in there as well, blue under here. Yeah, so I'm delighted with this. I'm going to take it off at the niddy noddy and just soak it in some cool water and then let it drip dry. I'm not going to squeeze out the water, just let it drip dry under its own weight and see if my spinning on this one is a little bit better than the spinning on the first one. It was a little bit overspun on the first one. There's quite a lot of pigtails. It took a little while to get my balance quite right between the spinning and the ratio of it. And the plant-based fibres, I found they're actually super easy to spin if you're used to spinning like silks and like slippery fibres, because there's not as much of a grip as wool. It doesn't like you can't just hold it there and it'll spin away itself. Some wools do that. It's amazing. But so you do have to be kind of feeding it in and controlling the amount that goes in. It doesn't want to draft out as easily out of your hands. Maybe it's just my own touch because I'm not used to it, but hopefully over the next year I'm going to get better at it and work on that. But you don't need as much twist. I'm finding that you don't really need as much twist as wool does. It does hold together, and that's why I decided to leave it in a single, because it's actually holding together and you get this beautiful shine off it. Yeah, so it's really, I like it. It was going a little bit thick and thin because it was kind of slipping out of my hands and then I'd catch it, and pull it back. So hopefully as like in the middle there, I'm really consistent, which is really nice. But sure, I can only get better, so that's grand. And actually I quite like the thick and thin. It's going to be really interesting to knit it as well. I'm going to hopefully be spinning. Yeah, so sorry, Christine's Cowl runs from December until next November, and then we knit up something, or we make something in December, I suppose, from it, or just have them to open as an advent again, so it gives again. But you're spinning 2 minis per year. Or per month, sorry, 2 minis per month, either out of this year's spinning calendar or just some minis that you have up at home, or some sample that you have up at home. And then you just hashtag it Advent SAL 2019. I think it's a really nice idea, and it's really encouraging. It would be encouraging for me to actually spin up all of the fibres. I'll show you the massive load that I have actually. Look at them all. So I've got sea cell, mint, bamboo, banana fibre. This is carbonized bamboo. I've got some flax in there. I've got some ramie, what's the other one? Flax, hemp. I've got hemp in there as well. Yeah, really cool, really cool. So I'm going to be working on that. And yeah, we'll see how that is in the new year. I also got this adorable, I have to show you this. I got this beautiful little Playmobil like spinning wheel character. It's obviously like Sleeping Beauty, but she's got a little crown, little puff sleeves and a little chair, and the spinning wheel spins. Wait a second. Whee! No, it doesn't spin anything, like obviously. But it's just the cutest thing. I don't know where the treadle is, but I think that's supposed to be the treadle, and I'm like, somebody get this sorted. I think the flax is supposed to be on this side. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's just so cute. Thank you so much, Jarlene. She sent that to me. She's gassed. This is another advent calendar that I got, naturally dyed, and you can see me speaking about that a little bit in my Vlogmas on the last day, the 24th. I go through all the different colours and what they're all dyed with. Now I just have one more thing to talk about, and then that's me done, I promise, lads and ladies and other people who don't like to be gendered. So I started weaving again. I haven't woven in ages. So I am using some beautiful naturally dyed yarn. Again, I'm obsessed with naturally dyed yarn because I can't do it, so I like to buy it. So this is beautifully naturally dyed yarn from County Cork, Margarita, who has your wool. Now this is all, I think there's 3 of them that are Wensleydale and one of them which is Cardigan and Mohair in it. And it's really, I say I don't like Mohair. And I do find that when I'm weaving with this, it is a little bit like sticky, but it's coming out quite nice. And it's going to be a skirt. I'm going to definitely line the skirt because I can't manage that. Hopefully it's going to be a skirt. We'll see. This is my current project. It's a tartan. So if you see, the warp is all, it's actually even in the middle. So you've got your progression of different yarns there, which is quite nice. So I'm following that progression as I'm weaving. So for example, where am I here? I think I am just about here. You see this? So you've got your coral, your green and your coral. So you've got coral, green, coral, and then your dark green. So I'm on this side because I'm going from this side to this side and then I'm going back, I think. So I think I'm over here actually, and then the next colour I'm going to be doing is the pink. So the pink there. And I have done a video on my Vlogmas about how you alternate skeins, alternate colours up the side of your woven work. So this is the side that I'm alternating all my skeins. All the switches are happening on this side, which gives it a little bit of a raised edge, but it's tidy, you know, it's not messy. This side is a lot more flat, but it's going to be in the seam anyway, so I don't really care. Just in case people are curious, this is a Ashford 16-inch rigid Hetal loom. It's a sample-it loom, and I bought it from Wingham Woolworks. This is a Kromsky Hetal, which fits the Ashford Hetals. It's grand. So I have a bag, an old bag in there. Actually, it's the Nahani River sweater pattern, which we shall not talk about. That I was going to knit for James, but I decided not to. So I'm actually curling it under this side, and it's separating the warp at the back here as well. And I have a couple of bags. I have about 3 or 4 bags doing the whole length. Hopefully I should have approximately 2 meters of fabric after I'm done this, if my calculations have worked out. And yeah, hopefully. I have not kind of got this out so much because it is a bit tricky working with 4 yarns. I haven't been reaching for it because I mainly wanted to be spinning and knitting because I've got so many lovely knitting projects on the go, especially that hand spun sweater. Love it. So yeah, I'll leave a link to your wool, to Margarita, down at the below, and you can see her beautiful yarns that she has. They're absolutely amazing, and her Instagram feed is beautiful. If you want something really well thought out and lovely and minimalist and just all about the yarn and the colours, really nice. Yeah, I think that is it. Yes, I think so. Oh dear. I didn't write down any show notes because I'm so used to vlogging now. I actually, I like, now that I've stopped Vlogmas, I miss Vlogmas. I'm like today, okay, I'll need to get, that'd be a lovely little shot now to put in the middle of something, or I miss it. I'm definitely going to be doing more vlog months, like Vlogtober, definitely. Even though I'm not much of a Halloweeny person, but I think that's what I've learned from Vlogmas is I don't have to be a Christmassy person. It's not all about what my Christmas traditions are, you know, it's what my days are like. And if I'm actually recording my days, I want to do things that are interesting to me and you, so I actually get so much more crafting done. That's the entire reason why I'm a good knitter, is because of the podcast. I started the podcast when I was 1 month into being a knitter. 2 months, maybe 2 months. That was it. Like, I just got obsessed. And if you want to watch me from the start, you can see me actually progress as a knitter and as a spinner, learn how to spin then and learn how to weave then, you know, and it's a complete record of my fibre journey, my learning experience. And I think that's like really good for me to have. And some people find it interesting. Yay! So I wanted to thank everybody, all my new subscribers from Vlogmas. Thank you so much. What's coming up for me? Nothing until Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I'm going to Edinburgh Yarn Festival in May. I'm so excited. I'm also hosting Babbles Retreat, which is going to be very exciting. That is going to be over the Easter weekend. And I'm half thinking about holding classes, but I'm not sure how. I might need to enlist somebody reliable. Not James. He's cancelled on me twice. If I'm going to be teaching classes, I need someone else there to help, just help out really, and run like the shop and the market and stuff. So yeah, it's an idea. All the tickets are now completely sold out. They sold out completely within 2 days. Actually, all the tickets that were gone, yeah, within 2 days. Unbelievable. Yeah, now it's only very small. It's not a big like deal. Like, it is a big deal to me because there was only 10 tickets. So quite a big deal for me, but it is a very limited. And I am hoping to open up another retreat at some time in the spring. I'm unsure about having it in March, at the end of March, or having it in May. I think in May it would be a bad idea because there's a lot of festivals going on in May. There's the West Cork Yarn Festival happening in May, and then there's also Festival of Wool, I think, in Ennis, County Clare, is also happening in May. And yeah, so I'm not sure about that, if I should have it earlier or later. Is March too close to EYF? Is May too close to the Irish festivals? I'm not sure. I have to get my finger out now and do it though, because I've got a lot of people hassling me saying they can't do Easter weekend. I'm like, I know, but 10 people could, and that's all I need. But yeah, I've got ideas. So I better stop talking because I've been blabbing on now for a long time. But hey, this is Babbles Travelling Yarns. You've been watching Grace. If you're interested in more of my carryings on, you can subscribe down below and you can press the thumbs up button. I've been doing a little bit of analytics, just watching what's happening, and actually at about 45%, that's dropped a little bit. It was 52% of people watching who were not subscribed. 1 second. Mr. Beans, what's he doing? He's trying to hunt out birds. I'm hoping that bell has scared them all off. He's a ninja. What is happening? That was the best thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. He's so fluffy. Okay, I'm gonna see you later. Yeah, if you want to subscribe, please do. I don't have a regular schedule. I am sorry. I do try, but I also have a full-time job with shift work. So that's impossible for me. So if you do want to keep up to date, subscribing is the best thing to do, and then you don't miss anything. You can also press a little button that goes ding 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 and sends out a little text to your phone if you want to really like be like, oh my god, I must know what Grace is doing all the time. You know, I don't know why you would, but the option is there. See, it's like stalking without me being in danger. All right. So if you have any questions at all, pop it down in the comments bar. I would love to answer. I read every comment I get. And yeah. Oh, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I am Vanawillemiel on Instagram, and I am Babbles Yarns as well. That's just for the business though. I'm mostly active on Vanawillemiel hashtag. That's not, no, yeah, no. I love you all. Have a wonderful end of year. I hope that it's going well for you, and I will see you next year. Ba-dum-butch.